Yo, my people, what's up? Just making sure I'm online. Today we have coding with Dappa again. Nice, we got it. So, we're gonna be going through the question number of students unable to eat lunch, and I need to log in to my Leetcoding. But remember last time we tried to do this question and it was a little bit challenging for me because I was not paying attention to the fact that the order of the students didn't matter. It was more the order of the sandwiches that did, and it was kind of basically based on the run through of the question here that helped me out. So
Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's write some more neat code today. So today let's solve the problem, number of students unable to eat lunch. They give us a pretty long essay here to read. I always love these types of problems, but the problem is more simple than they make it out to be. So I'm going to ignore a lot of the context errors because we have to serve sandwich 0, and then we have to serve sandwich 1, and then we have to do this one, and then this one. So they ask us, well, first of all, the length of these two arrays is always going to be equal. Now they ask us, how many students are we able to serve? And the rule, the way they describe it in the problem is this. If this student matches the preference of the first sandwich, then they can take it. If they don't match the preference, then we move the student to the end of the queue, and then ask the same question for the next student. And this student also doesn't like it. So okay, we move them to the end as well. Now we have this student who does like this sandwich. Great, we've served one sandwich. So we kind of repeat this process. Here we see that this student doesn't like this sandwich, so they go to the end, and then we would kind of repeat the process. Now doing the simulation might be possible, but it's kind of annoying. And the ultimate question that we're trying to answer here is how many sandwiches are going to be left remaining, which is equivalent to saying how many students are not going to eat a sandwich. Because remember, the length of this is going to initially be the same as the length of this. So if we have two students who never ate a sandwich, then we'll probably have two sandwiches remaining. Now in this example, this student will get this student will get this student will get this, and then this student will get this. So it works out. We have exactly 0 sandwich, or some students.
So basically, as you were saying, you explained the regular problem. We did that last time as well, but
you could just have two variables. Basically, I want to know how many students are going to eat the sandwich by the order sandwiches of 1. Now suppose this is the order of the sandwiches. I start with a 0 here. None of the students are willing to eat that sandwich. Therefore, the result of this would be 4. We have 4 sandwiches left over. We have 4 students who did not eat a sandwich. Now suppose I change the order of these. Suppose I change it to this. 1, 1, 1, now 0. Now I have 3 students who got a sandwich, and then we got to 0, and nobody was willing to eat a 0, or this student wasn't willing to eat a 0. So therefore, we would return 1. That's what I mean by the order of the...
So with that context, basically, is that still a rough idea? So I want to kind of still go through it myself, but based on that additional context, and then so we're going to be doing that same question, but looking at it in a way that we're going to have a basically look at the sandwich list and make sure that the order of the sandwich list is checked, so or taken into account while looking at the student counter. So basically how I see it is you have, and I have it here. Let me put the Excalibur actually inside here. I don't know if you guys are hearing me though. Yo, one thing, I need to log in. 1 second. Trying to log in and kind of been having difficulty. Anyways, I have a walking pad here. This thing has been very helpful. So that's the sound you may be hearing, if you're hearing it. Okay, so we have a sandwich list or array that is initialized or passed into the function for us, and we have to make sure that every sandwich, for each sandwich, there's a student that wants it. So what we can do is see how many students want one type of sandwich and how many students want the other type of sandwich. So a typical way to do that is have a hash map that is, the key is 0 and 1, or the amount of categories, and the value is incremented or decremented accordingly depending on how many people want that category. So a quick way to do it is open curly brace open and closing curly brace with 0 and 1, and they're both initialized to 0, and then you have something like, for every student, if S in student is for S in student, update the hash map value at that particular key plus equal 1, and that's how you'd fill out the hash map. But apparently in Python there's a way to do it where you just say count, and this is counting students, for example. Or I guess count student preferences, and the simple way is just having a function that's saying this. Very interesting, new to Python, you know. So count student preferences, you have the counter. So at this point we have a counter that's saying stu, let's say this is this 0, this is now 2, and then 1, this is now 2, right? So one of the big things that we want to do now is use that while going through this sandwich array to help us solve the issue. So what we want to do, so we're going to be going through, go through each sandwich and if there is a student that wants that sandwich, we decrement that in the student hash, and then here it says return the number of students that were able to be placed. Let's see again. This continue until none of the Q students want to take the top sandwich and are thus unable to eat. Return the number of students that are unable to eat. So again, if we had a situation where all the students prefer 1, and the first sandwich is 0, then we'd have 4 students not being able to eat. So what we do is initialize the number of students as a result. So 4 students not being able to eat, and then we decrement accordingly. So results equal len of students, I guess, for now. So all of them not able to eat, and then for each time, if there's a student, we decrement that in the student hash, and then decrement students unable to eat. So um, if there is no student that wants that sandwich, then break, then return. Let's return whatever the value is for the result currently. Return result, students unable to eat. So so what that would look like is 0 is a student unable to eat. Is there a student that wants this sandwich? No. If not, there would be no decrement, then return 4. So if we did it here, go through sandwich and sandwiches. So 1, if there's a student that want, we decrement that in the student hash. So student hash, which is count student preferences. So instead of, so this, in this case it would be count student preferences is 4 students want that, no sorry, 4 students want 1, 0 students want 0, and then result for our count student preference starts at 4. Our students unable to eat starts at 4. So sandwich is there a student that wants it? We look into the student hash, student list. Yes, decrement it to 3, and then we decrement 1 in the student hash as well. Next one, yes, there's a student that wants it, decrement it to 2, and then we'll decrement it in this. So now we have 2 students unable to eat so far, and then 0, we see 0. If there is no student that wants a sandwich, then we just return it directly, return 2, because these 2 students, these 2 are left, or yeah, 2 students we aren't able to check. Alright, so for S in sandwiches, if so S will just give you the value of what is in the sandwich array right now. So if S is in students, since students is just the list anyways, in students, then what we want to do is we decrement the student hash at that key. So in this case, this key minus equal 1, and then we also decrement result, students unable to eat, minus equal 1, for, and this is with the assumption that students unable to eat and counts, and I mean this is with the assumption that students and the sandwiches are of equal size. Let's see if that's a legitimate assumption. I guess if it's not a legitimate met assumption, then we could just say, you know, once it reaches 0, then we end. But we're just assuming that the number of sandwiches that are being traversed is the same as the number of students that need to get set up. So if the student is in S, if S is in students, then else return, if S is in students, we decrement the count and we decrement the inability to eat. And if not, we return. Well, yeah, why? I guess here we could be just checking if the count of the students if the count of student at S is greater than 0, then this, and then students unable to eat -1. I'm not sure if this is going to cause a problem. If S in students I think that also works, so let's try this. Students unable to eat, and then return
total 1 hour, 290 calories, heart
and
rate 71 beats
students
per minute.
minus equal 1 minus equal 1 output expected 3. What if it is a student? Hey,
You streaming?
yeah.
You streaming without me? Them don't miss me.
Nice.
Hi.
See the camera.
I'm going to get ready to leave.
What?
Yeah. They don't miss me on the treadmill.
I was doing it earlier, but then I was getting confused while I was walking.
Oh, no, me never have, because you should doing it beside me.
So I'm getting an output of 0. That means okay, let's try what I was talking about. So if S okay. Wait. Oh no. So what I had before was oh, I see. Ten out of 55 pass. If S in sandwiches. Oh yeah, I can't just with students because it's not taken into account. Okay, cool. So count students' preferences and at S is greater than 0. then count students' preferences at that value minus equal 1, and then students unable to eat minus equal 1, and then if not, then return minus equal 1. Okay, cool. Damn, this took me 2 lessons or 2 streams to do, but damn. Okay, it's good to walk through. And yeah, it's good. Sometimes, you know, you get a nudge from elsewhere. But yeah, that's it for me today, because I'm gonna be quickly jumping to talk to my darling dearest, because she's leaving today to go to SF or California, Thousand Oaks or something like that. Anyways, big up y'all. Submitted. And then stop recording. Street vibes boosting on me, dude. Up and out.